what personal attribute or character trait or quality would you associate with a sword? There's really no wrong answers here. This is all subjective. But I'm going to start out with the first one that I picked, which is the Smallsword. I would go with something like attentiveness or wits, perhaps, because this is a very light sword that you can move extremely fast. You have to keep a close eye on your opponent at all times. Guile, yeah, I like that. That's a pretty good one too. One size up, so to speak, the Rapier. Not as light, not quite as super fast as a Smallsword, but you can also cut with it. I was thinking patience and maybe diligence. I think diligence would also apply to the Smallsword. I find Rapier fencing is, to a large extent, a patience game. Because if you just rush in and just try to get that lunge in, you will probably get stabbed yourself. It might run each other through, but I find that's a very valuable thing. And if you've watched Rapier sparring videos, they can get a little boring because there's a lot of just, kind of standing there and just blades, bind a little bit, disengage, bind, retreat, kind of move around. There's a lot of feeling out the opponent, being very, very careful and meticulous. And that's, from the outside, it's not super exciting. So patience is probably elegance. Is that a character trait? Curtly machismo. Yeah, it's not exactly a positive character trait, at least I think so. Formal, yeah, just like a Smallsword. You can always apply physical characteristics. I want to focus more on like personality things because the physical stuff is, Rapier, Smallsword, Dex. Yeah, it's too easy. It's like you immediately come up with something, Greatsword, strength, Smallsword, dexterity, whatever. It's too easy. Let's move on to the next one, which is the Longsword. So there's a lot of things I can think of that could work, but what I narrowed it down was, I think, adaptiveness or maybe resourcefulness might be the better term because of its versatility. There's a lot of things you can do. You can fight somebody without armor. You can fight somebody in armor. You have two edges to cut with. You can strike with a guard and pommel. You can half sword. There's a lot of things. It's good in offense. It's good at defense. It can cut. It can thrust. So yeah, jack of all trades, like you're saying. Level-headed, yeah. Courageous. Courage fits, but then again, you need courage for any kind of fighting. Even with a Smallsword, you wouldn't necessarily associate a Smallsword with courage, but you need that too. Like, it's a bit too broad. Charitable. Yeah, if you go by the image of the knightly sword, then yeah, that would be something as well. Of course, honor, things like that, integrity, you can always apply that. But in terms of fighting style, stoicism, that's interesting. I would apply that rather to another sword or weapon combination, which we'll get to. The katana, what traits would you associate with that? Oh, hi. What would I associate with you? Definitely intelligence and charisma and deviousness.
Is that a fighting style these days?
Rogue?
Well,
rogue
yes.
Bard?
There's a reason I tend to play the arcane archer in most games.
Yeah, the bard who distracts you with sweet words while poisoning you with a dagger. Edgy.
That works.
What I kind of feel fits very well is discipline, for one, because of the culture associated with it and the kinds of techniques you use with it, the overall demeanor and stance and things like that. You could also apply tranquility, in my opinion, because it's, again, this kind of calm mind sort of philosophy that goes with it, and kind of minimalist movements, just do just as much as is needed. So yeah, it seems like a very kind of reserved, calm, collected sort of style and weapon. Emotionally stable, yeah. Order, yeah. Focus, loyalty, yeah. That works. Dignified, yeah. Self-sacrificing. The next one, the Greatsword. What would you associate with that? I went with assertiveness, because it's a kind of weapon that makes room. Like, it creates space, it drives opponents away, and it's like, here I am, you better deal with me. That sort of thing. Dislocated shoulders, I like that one. Resolute, yeah. Overdramatic, in some cases. I mean, this one does look kind of overdramatic, doesn't it? Bravado, yeah. Dominance, yes. Presence, I like that one. Presence is a good one. Because again, it's this, wherever that thing is, you don't want to be. Like, it's really, really discouraging to close in on, especially with the way you use it, with broad, wide sweeping strokes that keep coming around, where you keep using the momentum, you keep it going, you create kind of the circle of death almost, not in the spinning kind of way. But you could also go for protectiveness, particularly in the case of the Montante, which was a sword for bodyguards largely at the time. So it was designed to be used to protect a person, like a lady primarily, against multiple attackers. Extrovert, kind of, yeah. Next one, sword and buckler. The term that I would mainly associate here is self-control, because it's very measured. It's pragmatic, protectiveness, yeah. Cautious, yeah. Safe and in control, yeah. A word for being able to multitask. That's interesting. Resourceful could fit there as well. Streetwise, that's appropriate. Next one is sword and shield. I would say qualities like tenacity or perseverance fit very well. That's also why I picked the Gladius and Scutum. Depending on which sword and which shield you pick, you may come up with different associations. But this is, the kind of thing that a soldier carries, where they have to hold the line. They have to be steadfast. They have to, tank, basically. Team player, yep. Protective, yes. Discipline, again, yes. Stubborn and dependable. I like that. That definitely works. Reserved, yeah. I really hope Skall is collecting ideas for an anthropomorphic weapon dating sim he's making. Oh, you got me, bro. Unwavering. Expendable. That's interesting. That's the soldier perspective. Like, you are a cog in the machine, do your job, and you occasionally you're in the meat grinder, yeah. Dependable, yeah. Certainly. The messer. Eventually I decided ferocity is what fits the most to me, because when I look at the style and the manuals, it's very aggressive. There's a lot of grappling in there. There's plenty of finesse too, but there's definitely plenty of aggressive, just get in there and take them down. Inventive. Yeah, I mean, that applies to a lot of swords, I would think. Brutal, yeah. Vicious. Savage. Confident. Staunch and combative. Sounds good, although that would, again, apply to most swords, I feel. Bold, yeah. I was thinking boldness, too. Ruthless, yeah, that could work, too. Just pragmatic, too, like, gets the job done without being too flashy. Although that really depends. There are very flashy looking messers too. Too edgy to be a sword, so it is a knife. Rugged, I think, fits pretty well overall. Perverse in a good way? You'll have to elaborate on that. That's an interesting thought. I don't really know how that applies. The type of person who is honest with his sexuality. Okay. Kind of wearing your kink on your sleeve or something? I'm still not quite sure how you got there. What do we do with the saber? There's a number of things that fit, but courage or boldness is kind of what I want to go with, both because it requires courage on the battlefield, and also when used in a duel, it's all about honor and personal. I was thinking integrity too, maybe. Poshness, yeah, with certain styles, definitely. Nobility, yeah, again, with some styles. The saber is a large category, so it will make more sense to really go for particular ones. Fancy but practical, yeah. That's more officer saber. If you're thinking infantry saber, it's not going to be very fancy. Enduring, yeah. Definitely in terms of battlefield use. Willing to charge, yeah, I think boldness covers that. Playful, I don't think so. Playful is really more Smallsword in particular. Rapier too to an extent, but I think more Smallsword. Because Saber is more kind of serious business. But then again, you're probably thinking of a different type of saber than I'm thinking. Like some of the more decorated ones, and some have fairly narrow blades, and they're more flashy. Yeah, relentless definitely makes sense. Okay, so the baskethilt sword, or Schiavona, however you pronounce it, I associate mainly with determination. You know, if you think of a baskethilt broadsword in the hand of a Scottish Highlander, stout personality, unwavering, yeah, stubborn, yeah, certainly, intimidating, yeah, especially considering that at the time the rapier was also, and also small swords were often used. So in comparison to that, this is quite a hefty sword. Classy but wild. That's a pretty good one. I like that. That makes, like, it looks all elegant, but then it can get pretty ferocious. Aristocratic badass. Can be, yeah, absolutely. Stubborn but determined. So we can probably cut it here. Cut it. It was a very edgy topic. Yes, I can end the video rightly. Just give me a moment. Before I do, thank you everybody for showing up and having that discussion. I hope you found it entertaining in one way or another. And yes, we will end it right now.